Hello and welcome to the 2024 planner lineup. Today, we are going to go through all of the planners and journals that I plan on using to keep my life together in 2024. So let's get into it. Starting off with the most straightforward of my planning system will be the memory keeping journaling. So I have several books here that I plan to use to kind of just keep track of things in my life that will be used on a regular basis, in addition to things that will just be more conditional. Starting with my plant log, which I use to keep track of when I water and care for my plants, which plants that affects, and what I did exactly to them. Whether that be watering, fertilizing, moving to a new location, trimming, or either receiving or losing plants, because I don't really have a green thumb, so this just helps me hopefully be better at keeping my plants alive. This has been working out great for me. I'm just going to be continuing in the new year's. A new thing that I'm going to be using is the Magic of I 2024 planner. This is technically my fourth one of these, but I've always struggled actually using them because I attempted using them as my main planner and I have different issues with them, but I love the information that it includes. I am technically agnostic, but I love witchy things for self-care practices, and I love the idea of astrology and moon effects and planet effects and stuff like that. And because I think it's fun, it's nice having something that talks about that kind of stuff, and me being able to see like how that does or doesn't actually affect my life is just fascinating to me. So I decided that I would once again try using this, but instead of just taking the information that they include within the book and kind of wasting the rest of the pages, since this is a pretty expensive planner, I'm going to be using the planner pages to keep track of either tarot readings or just gratitude lists when I don't want to do a reading. And I think that would be a fun way to utilize this, in addition to the moon journaling for new moons and full moons, which I always think is fun to do in general. I also am going to continue using my Align a Day 5-year memory journal, just to keep track of what I've done every day and compare it to the previous years. I think that's such a cool idea, and I love this particular book, which unfortunately is no longer available because I would like to get another one for when this is done. And then the main meat and potatoes of this memory planning system would be my Hobonichi Techo cousin, which this year I have been using for memory keeping and journaling, which I absolutely adore and want to continue doing. And so that's the plan for general memory keeping. Now this year I went through a few things to try and do planning, and part of that was this life tracker, which turned more into memory keeping, along with this Hobonichi Weeks, which I've used for content planning in addition to general life tracking. And so I wanted to find something kind of in between all of the different things that I have tried out. So I decided that I would re-examine my traveler's notebook system for 2024 for all of my personal planning needs. So this will be the only real planner I need to take with me in addition to my phone. I will also have this Sterling Inks week size monthly planner that I'm going to use to keep track of finances and things like that. So I won't be sharing this, but I'll keep track of due dates and spending and monthly subscription boxes, and all of that stuff will go in here so that I have a better idea of when annual payments are going to happen, when monthly payments are going to happen, and just where all of my money is going. And then I will have a monthly calendar catch-all for all of my general planning. This is another Sterling Inks insert, and it also has quarterly and goal tracking, which I plan on filling out. I currently have some transparent sticky notes to do some basic ideas for what kind of goals that I want to keep track of, and I'll have my video schedule, appointments, birthdays, basically everything will go in here. I also have the Sterling Ink weekly, so this is half of a year in terms of the weeks, and it's similar to the Hobonichi weeks but obviously larger, and I plan on putting all of the information that I currently keep in my Hobonichi weeks, so events, meetings, general notes on what I'm doing, the books that I'm I'm reading, how many steps I took in a day, how many pages I read that day, how many books I completed, and so on and so forth. So I will be using this similar to how I'm currently using the weeks to just kind of keep track of things. I am a booktuber, if you don't know, and I read a lot. So kind of keeping track of what that actually looks like is something that I have been doing a lot more, and I hope to continue into the new year. And then obviously, because of the way that this is designed, there's the flexibility for me to change the things that I'm tracking depending on how life changes, which I think is always nice. Then we get into the blank note pages. Originally, I was planning on using Hobonichi Weeks for next year instead of this, but the issue that I had with this planner is the space in the back. It has 215 pages in the back, but I just don't feel like that's enough for everything that I would want or need this for. I personally just take a lot of notes on a lot of things, and I just don't want to be stressed out about running out of space while still needing to use the dated pages in here for actual regular note keeping. And so the solution to that is having those be separate. So instead of having all of my note pages combined in this, convenient little booklet, I will have the note pages separate. I'll have one booklet as my catch-all daily bullet journal style note taking, for commonplacing, for appointments, for notes, just whatever I need on a daily basis will go into one booklet. And then the second one here will be for my 9-to-5 job notes. And so this one I won't be sharing and will often not be attached, since I'm only going to need it when I'm traveling on work trips and or when I'm at home working, since I work from home. That is how I'm planning on using this. This will actively replace several books that I am using right now for all of these purposes, and be able to add in some additional memory keeping and things like that. And in a general sense, this is all that I will need for planning purposes. If, say, I go on to a trip, I could put everything in here, and then I can come back and do memory keeping based off of what I've written in this book. So this will be the main bread and butter of my system and just my catch-all for life. Now, because I do also like having dedicated areas for me to go over ideas, flesh out things, I do have a couple of other planner type situations that are not as necessary and are more situational that I will also be using. One of those being my plotter planner, which I'm currently using to take notes and plan out stuff for my tabletop role-playing game. So this is a game that I am running for my little brothers in the Grim Hollow universe, using the Dungeons and Dragons system, and it will just be writing out session notes, retrospectives on how I felt I did as a game master so that I can improve moving forward, and then also including notes to remember as we're actually playing, and so on and so forth. This obviously isn't necessary for me to have on me all the time when I'm not actually prepping for a game. So I use it when I need it, otherwise it kind of sits at home waiting for those instances. In a similar vein, I also have my content planning system, which is heavily inspired by my project planning cards that I have mentioned in previous videos. I love the idea of these, but admittedly, these note cards are a little bit on the expensive side. So I find myself not wanting to use them for things that I don't know for sure if they're ever going to see the light of day. I also struggle with the fact that this often isn't enough for me to get all of the plannings out once I have decided to move forward with an idea. So instead, I thought I could use this loose leaf system instead to track video ideas that I can either throw out or expand on easily in this kind of removable binder system. And whenever I do decide that I'm going to move forward with an idea, I can just grab a sheet from here and move it into the front where I can easily expand upon that idea. This has been working out really nice for me. I do have a section of completed video ideas, and I basically just use one page per video, which depending on the video can take more or less space. And since the paper is a lot cheaper, I don't feel as guilty not filling everything up completely if I don't need to. And that's it. That is my plan for 2024. We still have time before then, so that may or may not change in the future. I am excited to utilize my traveler's notebook system more because I have always liked the idea of the traveler's notebook, even though I'm not a huge fan of the fact that things don't lay as flat as I would like without utilizing clips and things like that. So let me know what you're going to be doing in 2024, what your thoughts are on my system. I do know it's a little bit all over the place, but I did want to kind of pare things down as much as possible and have a kind of dedicated singular place for me to do most of my planning, and then have a secondary place for me to do creative memory keeping so that I can have a bound, easy to look at place to just see what the year was like. So I'm really excited to do that for the new year's. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this planner lineup, and I will catch you in the next video. Until then, bye!